Hey, what's going on, everyone?
How's it
What's,
going?
what's going on, Victor? How are
Doing
you?
good.
Let's see. Do we have anyone in the chat here, Victor? Do we got
I
any?
don't know. We
Do we have
we
anybody?
invited some
We got
people.
17
Yeah,
people waiting.
17
Holy
people.
cow!
Wow.
Wow, what's going on? We got Nathan saying, "Let's find some books. Let's do it."
Yeah,
Edward says, "Has been moved back an hour." Sorry, yeah, I had something
yeah.
that popped up last minute. I had to change it an hour back. Appreciate you're still here. Let's find some books in an hour. Yes, we moved it back. Sounds good. Sherry says, "I'll be there." Sarah says she's
Okay.
here. Everyone, go watch
Hey, Sarah. How's
Sarah's
it going?
interview on our BookMine YouTube channel. That was incredible. Sarah,
Hmm.
that video is done so well. It's gotten like well over 1,000 views. So if you guys don't know who Sarah is, she's killing it with books. I think she did what was it 60 something thousand last year, and
Yeah,
I don't
I think closer to 70,000, and her goal
70,000.
this year is to 100,000. So,
Yeah.
and we're all rooting her on. So, hopefully she gets there.
Yes. And Sarah, if you don't mind sharing, where are you at right now in terms of sales? Are you on track? How are
Hmm.
sales going for you? Because we haven't kind of checked in a while. You at 70. Wait, are you at 75K right now?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's
Whoa.
75K right now. Yeah.
Can you confirm, Sarah? Can you say yes?
Oh,
Just want to make
yeah. I
sure.
guess so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I think,
I know that she's almost at a $10,000 month right now. So,
ooh.
mhm.
Whoa, we got Chad here. Good
Hey,
afternoon and
Chad,
morning.
how's it going?
No, last year. Oh, she said, oh, that was last year. I hit 10K this month. What are you at this year so far, though,
Yeah.
Sarah? So you hit 10K this month. That's huge.
Yeah.
High school books must be doing well for everyone. So we got Bob here. We also got Chet
Hey,
here.
Bob, how's it going?
Yeah. You had 45K in the year. Okay. So
Okay.
you're getting there. You're getting there.
Hmm.
10 books a day, everyone. That's what
Well,
we're
this
that
August is gonna be like the best month for
yeah,
everyone, so
August.
I think she's gonna get much closer this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
August is always the best month for me.
Yeah.
I think last year I did 50,000 in August, and that was by far the best month. So I'm
Yeah.
expecting this month to be great. Pop off. We got hearts in the chat. Hoping for August. Yeah, absolutely. So today we're gonna do some online book arbitrage. We'll do some with just Keepa. We'll do some with BookMine, and um, we'll also do some Q&A. So ask some questions in the chat. The goal is we can give out some free books that you guys can go buy right now. Some of
Yeah.
them, again, are going to come from BookMine. We'll find some from Keep the Deals or Product Find. Or, I mean, we're just going to find books. The picture is 100 million books out there. I mean,
You're
there's
right.
thousands of books undervalued, right?
Hmm.
There's so much
Exactly.
opportunity out there. So we're just going to show you a bunch of them. So I'm going to go
The
and
coolest
present my.
part of all this is that we're doing in the middle of the day, right?
Yeah, we're going
Because
to do in the
like,
middle of
yeah,
the.
it's
Yeah,
been fun.
absolutely. And by the way, we can do in the middle of the day because we're both financially independent, right? So we're just,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah. Like,
it's
hey,
just
you want to do
awesome.
this? Sure, that. Why
I was
not?
like, all right. I was like, do you have to work? He's like, no, we're here. So we're glad that you all are here as well. And we're going to take a look at some books that we just found with BookMine. Actually, Victor just sent them over. So I actually haven't seen any of these books, but these are books that are that we're going to go ahead and share just live. So I'll go and put, the keep a link in the chat if you guys are interested. We'll put that there. Don says he's got 53K in sales on the year, which is incredible.
That's great.
Art of Violin Playing, book 1. All right. So first thing, Victor's, we look for intrinsic value. What are you seeing here for intrinsic value? I'm going to get rid of everything else except for what we use for intrinsic value, this black line, use price.
Right.
What are you seeing?
That's exactly what we use, right? We're looking at a book that's usually right around $30, right?
Yeah.
30, 35 sometimes for the majority of the year. So that's what
Yeah.
we're looking at. And then just recently, it looks like there's been a
Yeah.
repricing war that's gotten this book lower. But the majority of the year, it's been right around $30.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
one thing that you guys can think of is, are you getting a good deal? Well, a good deal, I would say, is when you could buy the book right now at a
Mm,
price that's significantly below what you could have purchased it for at any point in the time in the
yeah.
past year. So there's
Right.
only one time you could have bought this book for a similar price, and that was either right here, so on October 28th, or it would have been here actually on November 12th. So essentially, you're looking at a book that there's only 2 days you could have bought it this year at a similar price. So that's a really good sign. Now, just because a book is listed at that price doesn't necessarily mean it's selling. That's why we have sales
Hmm.
rank, everybody. So now every time you see this green line drop, think of it as a heartbeat, think of it as a sale. It's an
Right.
improvement in sales rank. It's becoming more popular. So these are like your completed listings. So this is like, okay, it's sold, it's sold, it's sold, it's sold, it's sold. What did it sell for? Okay, so we overlapped the two. So what would you say this book is conservatively selling for? What range, Victor?
It looks like it's just Well, because the entire time it's right around $30 and it's just selling right around $30. It's not like when it dips lower, it sells more or anything. It's just the entire time when it's at $30, it's selling consistently. So I
Yeah.
would say this book definitely is worth right around $30. That's
Yeah.
the kind of the intrinsic value, because now we put the two together. Now we're seeing the sales rank data and also the used price.
And what you all have to understand is that what we're looking at here is a book that over, 6-year time period has been
Hmm.
very consistent there. Lowest use price has been right around $30. And also, if we get rid of the sales rank, I want to also point out that today's an anomaly, Victor.
Yeah,
If you go back to 2018, if you go back to 6 years ago, there's only like 3 times you could have bought this book for this cheap. That's today, those little, 2 days back there, and then back here.
right.
That's an
Yeah.
anomaly, everyone. That's an anomaly. And
And for
that's what we're looking
4,000
for.
days, that's a
Yeah.
really old book. And
Yeah.
to only find that like a couple of times.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so we're looking for a book that once this price rebounds and goes up, Victor,
Yeah.
you're probably not probably ever going to find it, or it's very unlikely you're going to find it that cheap again. In other words, it's super undervalued. Okay, now we're going to add in to see if Amazon's on the listing. So I'm going to go and click this yellow button to see if Amazon's there. We have to be careful a little bit because Amazon, when they are in stock, will represent the cap. What do I mean by the cap, Victor?
So yeah, so when Amazon's on the listing, basically that's the top we can sell the book for, right? Because if Amazon's on the listing, they'll own the buy box. Plus, it's new, so we're going to be selling the book used. So we're never going to be able to sell the book higher than them. So that's
Right.
our cap, right? We're not going to be able to sell it for more than whatever Amazon's selling for it. And in this case, is right around $34.
Yeah.
But
Now I'm
right
going to
now,
get rid
Amazon's
of.
out of stock, so it's not
Yeah.
so much of a worry. But if
Yeah.
Amazon ever came back in stock, that's kind of something we should look at.
Yeah, it's something we should consider.
Mhm.
So Amazon is just kind of like remember how we were looking at the black line for the used price and we just went
Mhm.
left to right with our cursor to see what the used price was. The Amazon price is the same except we shade it in. So or Keepa shades it in. So the box is shaded in when Amazon's in stock.
Yeah.
And then you'll notice that this book hasn't always been shaded in orange. It means Amazon at times is out of stock. So, for example, Amazon was out of stock between, let's say, this would have been October 16th to February 18th. They just weren't
Yeah.
in stock. And then they came back in stock for about a month and they went out of stock for half a month and they came back in stock. Currently, in this past year, have they ever been in stock in this year?
Uh, it doesn't. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah. They've been
no.
out of
Now that
stock.
you clicked on Amazon, no, they haven't been
Yeah.
in stock. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay,
I
so
didn't
they
know.
were
I didn't see you click
so
on that. Yeah.
yeah. So the good reason so the reason why that is just better news for us is that it's just less competition, right? If they
Hmm.
don't there's not even the option to buy it from Amazon brand new. Now, let's look at the other type of person that can sell it new, and that's a third party seller. So there's third party sellers that can sell books in new condition, and you can see that it looks to be right around the 40 range, right? So you would
Right.
think that's also kind of like a cap. So we know that like up to the 40s is probably going to be the cap on a book like this, but
Mm.
we're talking picking this up for $6 plus shipping, selling it for 30. It's probably going to be a pretty good buy. Now, I'm gonna go to the Amazon page. We've been talking about this book for a while that some of you might already have purchased it. So we'll see what the price is, but we're looking at 1069 here. Okay, so 1069, and we have acceptable copies. However, they're from two Goodwills with pretty high feedback percentages, so I wouldn't mind buying those. Usually, Goodwills with 97 or higher percent feedback under promise and over deliver. So,
Yeah.
if you bought both of these, it's likely that one of them will probably come in good condition, and another one will be acceptable, or they might even both come in good condition. So you're looking at 1069 as a buy cost. I would say the target on a price like this would probably be like 32.99 for me. So
Hmm.
you're looking at like a $7 profit. And that would be if you use a prep center. So you can see under my fees, I have a 225 prep center fee. Now, if you're prepping your own books, the real profit would be closer to 10. So it'd be closer to 100% ROI. But all
So
we would do, Vic,
69%. I mean, that's not bad.
yeah, and all we would do is we just click buy it now and just price it. And that's about it. And then we'll just
Yeah.
let it sit
And
there.
Edward actually has a good question. What about the new edition? There's a new edition apparently that's just
Really
out.
good. Yeah.
Go for it.
So let's take a look at if it actually is a new edition. So notice this says Art of Violin Playing Book 1. This says the Art of Playing Violin Book 2. So this is probably
Yeah.
it's not necessarily it's the second book in the sequence, but it's not like a new edition. And that's important to realize. You'll understand through experience that just because it says there's a new edition and there's a link to a product, sometimes it's not even linked to the same book. Like it's a
Right.
completely different book. And you also just need to do a little bit more research here. So this is actually just the second book in the series. And the second book also is priced pretty high, but doesn't sell nearly as often. But still is selling in the 30s. So
So I wouldn't necessarily worry about a new edition, especially considering no matter what I wouldn't have worried about it, considering this book is really old, right? This book is like 4,800 days at least old.
yeah.
And so even if there's a new edition, you just have to think that this book already is in the market so long that its price is already established, its demand is already established. And
Mhm.
even if there's a new edition, that's great. That's for a whole different audience. And
Another
so
thing to think
yeah,
about is that this one came out in 2008. So
yeah.
even if you're like, oh, there's a new edition, well, the new edition came out over a decade ago.
Yeah.
And this one is even this year is still going really strong. So that's
Mhm.
another thing for you to. So I would say buying those copies targeting 32.99 would be a pretty good pickup there.
Yeah.
And I'm actually gonna stop sharing for a second, see if we got any other people here. Sarah says, "Great job, Don." Don says he's flexing on us.
Yeah.
Oh, Don says we're flexing. Um, yeah, there we go. So we're
Yeah.
not
We're not
concerned
missing
about that.
questions. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let me know when there's a question in the chat, just because
Sure.
I'm not able to see those questions. All
Yeah.
right.
I know.
Next book, I'll throw this one in the chat and keep a link there. So we've got varieties of anomalous experience, examining the scientific experience. Very interesting. All right. So again, we're gonna do a couple things. We'll just go ahead and look at intrinsic value. All right. Can we pick the book up today at a price that's lower than what it normally is at? So what are you seeing here,
Just based
Victor?
on this black line, yes. I mean, it's pretty easy, right? You can see there the far right, much lower than it's ever been, or at
Right.
least in this last year. And
Yep.
I see most of the year it was like right around what $60.
Yeah, right around 60
Yeah,
bucks.
$60, and then it went down to 50, and then it just recently dived to around $14.
Now
So
what's
go ahead.
also interesting about this is the offer count is 10.
Hmm.
And when this book was
Yeah,
listed at 65, it was right around 10.
yeah,
So for some reason, even though there's not like more sellers on the listing, the price is just a sixth of the price. It's just or a fourth of the price, excuse me. So now again, just because a book is listed at that doesn't mean it's selling. That's why we use sales rank, right?
right.
So now we look at, okay, well, when are we seeing the drop in the green line? When are we seeing the sales rank improve, which indicates the book is becoming popular and selling. So I see a collection of sales. I see a bunch of historical evidence to suggest that there are people willing to pay 60 bucks for this book at least.
Yeah,
Now, remember this represents the lowest use price. There often could be FBA sellers or other merchant fulfilled sellers even higher than that. This is just the bottom of the bottom. This is like, hey, you want to buy this book for the bottom of the barrel? Like this is the bottom of the barrel price at this day. But obviously, that $65 could be used acceptable, and the description could say, oh, it's got water damage, and then really the person who bought this book bought it for $85, and they bought that very good condition dust
yeah.
jacket, right? So
But that's the very minimum
yeah,
price of that
yeah,
$65.
yeah.
All
This
right. So
is the
when you clicked on
minimum.
a year doji and then you clicked on sales rank,
Yeah.
what's the first thing you thought of? Like, did you think,
What
oh, this is going to be a good book, a bad
Oh,
book,
yeah,
or
first thing that I saw is that this looks like money to me, looking at one
okay?
year. I see a bunch of historical sales that have at least 65. It's down here
Hmm.
at 16, probably plus $4 shipping. So buying a book for 20, selling for 60, I know from experience and having sold tens of thousands of books that there's margin there. Buy for 20, sell for 60. That's like a $20 profit, right? If
Yeah,
we're able
because
to,
first we looked at the black line, right? And then we added
yeah,
the green line. And noticing that green line had a lot of drops in while it was still at a pretty high price made me
yeah,
also think, wow, this is a great book. If
yeah,
I had just seen the green drops there when the price was in October, when the price was like around $30,
yeah,
or just in August, this would be a different feeling for this
yeah,
book. I would be like, oh,
yeah,
there's not much value here. But the fact
yeah.
that December, January, February, all tons of sales were happening at that higher price, that's the key there.
Very
Anyway,
good. And
yeah.
we're also going to look at the new price here. You can see that the new price, about last year was in the 350s. So I would consider that probably very unlikely that someone's going to spend 300 more dollars to buy a new when they can buy a used. But
Mhm.
you never know. There could be one person out there. I mean, you do see that the new offers count goes to zero and they do go off the listing. So it's possible. Now, probably what's more realistic is that they sat here for a year and didn't sell it at $360. And like, all right, I'm going to be more reasonable and try to sell for 50. And so you can see how they dropped the price down to 50, and it's actually been sitting there for a while. Now, again, the sales ring has been improving, so that means some amount of these sales are coming from the used price and from the new third party seller. So what we want to do is a little bit more research and figure out, well, what's going on with this new third party seller sitting at 50. So I'm going to look at the offers and just click new. And it
So
looks
yeah,
like we've got
they
one in
just have
stock.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and again, this is right around $54, which is kind of around the target selling price anyways. Now, the other thing people get asked like, well, Joji, there's a prime offer already. And the prime offers, we've got two offers at 33. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's true. But in my mind, I'm just waiting this out because I just think these people are underpriced. And so what tends to happen when people underprice? Well, people tend to buy it. So I would say give it a little bit of time. Those offers are going to sell out. I'm not targeting $33 anyways. I think again, those are probably going to be the next two copies to go because they're from prime sellers anyways.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that doesn't matter to me really there. This is sort of the target range, 57 to 69. These are, in my opinion, people who are priced more appropriately. And so now we're going to just look at what are the other offers for, what can we buy the book for? So we've got a good copy, a like new, we got a good copy, and then it goes up to 33 and then 50, right? So we only have a few offers before it goes high. And that's also because there's only 10 offers on here. So for me, I'd be buying this book for 1998 or buy the like new one.
And
I'd
sell it right
probably
around
honestly,
like $57, right?
yeah, I'd probably
Yeah.
just buy it from this guy, even though it's good versus like new. This guy has 100% feedback. This guy's got
Hmm.
92% feedback. I mean, you could buy up to two of this. I probably wouldn't buy more than two, but 1998. Oh, let me go and put that in here. 1998. And you said what? 57?
Yeah, 57.
Yeah. I think that's good because that would be competitive with the prime offer,
The
which
next
is,
prime offer.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so we're looking at essentially 100% ROI without ever touching the book, right? Now, there are some other things to look at here as well. It's like, okay, well, there's a new edition, right? So let's go and take a look at this new edition. So going back to what Victor said, let's look at this book. It's been out for 4,800 days, right?
Yeah.
It's had a strong historical selling record
Yep.
of doing really well. This new edition, let's see if it even is the right book. So Varieties of Anomalous Experience. Okay, and it does say second edition, and it is
Okay.
from the same author, Cardena. Okay, so this is the second edition.
Yeah.
This book came out in 2013. So the question is, if the new edition's been out for over a decade, has
Yeah.
the old edition still done well? What's the
Yes.
answer to that question,
Yeah.
Victor?
Pretty easily
Yeah,
there. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's been doing really well,
It's been
really,
doing really
really
well.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and remember, just because there's a new edition of a book doesn't necessarily mean that it's more popular. Like for example, you can even see that this book has not very many sales rank drops in its recent past. Although it has still looked like it sold for in the 70s and 80s, just infrequently. Um, yeah, and probably honestly one of the reasons why the older edition is doing a little bit better is because even this newer edition went out of stock from Amazon. So that's probably
Mm,
why since 2022 it's kicked up a little bit. You can see in
yeah.
2022 it's kind of kicked up in use price, and so that's because that newer edition went out of stock from Amazon. Not only that, if you think about it logically, guys, are you going to buy the new edition for $500?
Yeah. There's only that copy, right? It's
Yeah,
only $500. That's the only option.
you gonna buy it for 500, or you gonna buy the older edition that has a proven track record for 20? I mean, I
Yeah.
think it's a pretty no brainer, right? As a
Right.
customer. So, given what I'm seeing, I would actually purchase both of these copies.
Now,
And
Chet did bring up something which I did see also in
mhm,
the used offers. What the other offer, the second offer, was somebody from the UK. So yeah, when you purchase
mm,
from the UK, it's going to take a little bit longer to get
yep.
there, but not necessarily something negative. And it does look like somebody already purchased that.
Yeah, someone already purchased a good. And again, I would purchase two of these. And I will also say that I'm gonna leave these books to the right here because I'm gonna purchase them at the end of this live stream if you guys don't. So part of me
Just
is
remind
wishing
you
you
that
don't
we
buy
actually
them
want
so
to.
that I can go
Yeah,
buy them, but if you guys buy them, no worries because there's thousands of other books I can buy, so,
exactly.
yeah, and the reason why I know that there's thousands of other books I can buy is because Victor and I often will, like, share our sales, like, when we're talking about BookMine was like, "Hey, would you sell today?" And we'll look at each other's sales, and we, like, very rarely sell the same books, which
Yeah,
means that we're both highly successful doing this, and our inventories look almost like completely different.
right.
And I'm like, "Victor, I've never seen that book." And Victor's like, "Joji, I've never seen that
I've
book."
never seen that book. Wow.
"I've never
Yeah.
seen this book." "Hope for
No,
today
no,
Bible."
you need to see this book.
Yeah,
I actually, when I saw it, I was like, okay, I
yeah,
actually
this is
track this book. This
yeah,
is an awesome book, and these are books that will help you out in the slower moving months. So,
yeah,
Sarah, you should be buying this book, and many of you guys should be buying this book,
yep,
right? Because tons of sales happen throughout the year,
mhm,
and anytime this book is like at a pretty low price, you should really be considering purchasing
yep.
multiple copies of it.
So we can see this is a
Anyway,
book that, again, we're looking at sales rank, great, a lot of sales rank drops, so it's definitely
mhm.
selling. Let's look at intrinsic value. So it looks like this book can be in the 10s and the 15s and the 20s. Then it can get up into in the high 30s and get into the 40s. A little bit harder of a book, um, but we know that it holds intrinsic value. It's not like sitting at a dollar. Like it's
Right.
sitting at a used price, a base price of like 10, at least $10, and often much more than that plus shipping. So this is a book that holds value and sells. So we can overlap the two. Now, what's fascinating is that also Amazon is out of stock, so we don't see any of that orange shade on the box. Although it used to be in stock, they used to be in stock, and they went out of stock there in 2020. Right around COVID, and you can actually see how crazy it spiked after that. This book used prices got up into the 50s and the 80s, so pretty crazy there. But really, the interesting thing is the used buy box here. And what's kind of interesting about the used buy box, like certainly during this period when the used price is lower, Victor.
It stays reliably high. And
Yeah,
so when we're saying like don't exploit the buy box because it's not reliable on these type of books, that's an exception, right?
yeah,
Because there's just so much demand that it actually keeps that buy box much higher, the used
yeah,
buy box much higher throughout the year.
yeah. It's actually a really good teaching moment. Let's actually find a great non-example. Let's find an example of what we don't mean. Because again, what we preach is don't exploit the buy box, and we're kind of saying exploit the buy box here, but only because we know from experience that you can. But let's find a book that you would not want to do that with. So we'll look for a book that, let's say, has a sales rank currently of like over, let's say, over 500,000, and we'll say that currently let's say the use price currently is like under $3, and the buy box price, let's go buy box use price, we'll say it's at least like $35 or higher, and we'll look at just books. So I'm using Product Finder just to find a good non-example. So let's see.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. All right, so here's a good example of a book that. So let's get rid of the buy box right now. Its lowest use price the whole year is like $3, right, Victor? So does
Right.
that book have value?
$3. That's
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
it's
it's not
$3.
valuable to us. I mean, at best, whatnot. Go buy that
Yeah,
book
yeah,
and
go
sell
go
it at
sell 'em Whatnot.
whatnot.
Which again, no knock on Whatnot. Whatnot's
Yeah,
an awesome
yeah, yeah.
platform, and but the thing is, like, you have to understand that like this is a substantially different book than the books we're trying to find. Like this is a book that doesn't
Hmm.
intrinsically really hold value. It's at $3. Now, you can see that the buy box on this book right now is actually at $49. Like that's not a realistic buy box. Like generally the buy box price is just slightly above what the lowest use price is. And not only that, it's a book that sells much less frequently. And let's see if we can find another. Here's another great non-example. So you can see, this is a book that's listed for basically $3 to $4 the whole year, and the buy box is at 1650. And okay, it looks like they were able to sell at 1650, but it's now sitting at a buy box at $36. That book's just gonna sit there forever. Now, the book that we were looking at actually holds value. It's not sitting at $3, right? It's like sitting up in the 15 and the 20s. It's often sitting again, bottom of the barrel used price in the 30s, sometimes even at the 60s. So it has a track record of getting pretty high and selling. And so what that means is that even when this book is lower in price, like it is now at 10, there is many historical sales at the price target price you want to sell it at 35, $45. So let's take a look at this product here on Amazon. See what we got. By the way, this came out in 2009, so this is a book that's over 1 decade old, which is
Yeah.
great. Okay, let's look at offers. So we got a couple acceptable ones again, 99% and 95%. So we'd be looking at, let's say, 996 plus 399. We're looking at 1395. I would probably be targeting like 45 for a book like this. I don't know about you, Victor. What would you be targeting?
Yeah, I mean, right around $40, $45. That's great. I've
Yeah,
already sold this book a few times that way.
yeah,
And that's what I'm saying. That's like it's a great replay.
yeah. It's very,
Um,
very fun.
a few people have asked for the ISBN or
Oh yeah,
the
yeah. Let's do that, and you can pick it up for 12.85. So all three of these copies would be copies that I would purchase and
yeah.
target 45, and you might even be able to sell for more than that. But definitely good. All right, let's see what we got here. We've got hi from Israel. Hello, hey Mario. Do you guys still use Product Finder now that you have BookMine source? Not really. I kind of use Product Finder as a way to just like showcase, like when I want to find a specific style of book really quick. But I mean, the whole point of using BookMine is so that you don't have to put all these filters in and you don't have to weed out all the garbage. So,
Yeah, for
um,
me, it's like a cheat code, right? I've just got all the books I need on BookMine. It's more powerful than what I can just have on Keepa alone.
yeah,
I'm using Keepa now to try to find, to build on to BookMine, like to make it even better for you guys. So down the road, we're trying to add some other features to BookMine. And
yep,
that's only the only time I'm really using Keepa's like product finder.
yeah.
Yeah.
The goal is for us to try to make book sourcing simpler, and using Keepa
Yeah.
is actually pretty advanced skill. Certainly using Product Finder, Keepa Deal is a little less advanced. Keep Alerts isn't incredibly advanced, but the whole notion of putting in these filters and looking at graphs and figuring out which one should I buy versus which one
Yeah.
shouldn't I buy and which graph should I not look at is pretty difficult. And so one way that we found we can make it easier is like, okay, if we can just get rid of like 80% of the junk, like right off the bat, that helps people a lot, right? Because that just means you have to comb through less. And if you're a fisherman, if you're just fishing in a better spot, which has more fish that are more likely to bite, then you're just gonna do better overall, like,
Yeah.
regardless of your skill, and that's the goal of BookMine. So,
And just so you guys know, if you guys actually have BookMine, you can go and type these books into BookMine now. They're there. Like
yeah,
I sourced them from BookMine just right before we got on, Joji. So
yep. Alright, so we're gonna look at this book, Managing Social Anxiety, a 2nd edition book. Again, we're gonna go ahead and just again, super basics. We're looking at what's the intrinsic value. Well, again, we know it holds value because it's not like $3. Like, it's always above $20 and often in the 50s. So depending on what time of the year you come and look at this book, it's obviously always gonna be above 20, but at times it's gonna be even up to 50. Now, again, thinking
yeah.
about, are we getting a good deal? Like, getting a good deal means you're buying it at the lowest that it normally can get. And so it's right around $12. It didn't even get down to $12 there. It didn't get down to $12 there. It only got down to $12 for what looks like 4 days
Hmm.
the entire year. That's a great sign.
That's a really great sign. Yeah.
Now let's look at sales rank to see if it sells. So we're seeing a bunch of, I mean, not a bunch of drops, but we're seeing consistent sales. So this book is probably selling a few times a month. So we're seeing consistent sales. Let's see if Amazon's in stock. Amazon's not in stock, so we don't have a cap, which is good. Now,
Right.
again, that
Yeah.
doesn't mean we're going to try to shoot for $1 million. It just means that it's better if Amazon's not on the listing because we're not just capped automatically at a
Yeah.
price, right?
Right.
Now, are there any new third party sellers? Okay, yeah, new third party sellers are on the listing, and they're significantly higher than the lowest used price, so that's good. They're kind of going to serve as our cap, right? Not as much
Mhm.
as Amazon would, but so we still need to definitely take them into account. Um, but we're looking at a book that, let's look at the buy box now. We're looking at a book that often is buy boxing in the 60s. Right now, does that mean it's selling? Not necessarily, but we see again sales rank drops
Yeah.
when the lowest use price is in the mid 40s. And so what that means is, okay, you have a book that could that has historical evidence of selling for at least in the mid 40s, if not higher. By the way, there is a potentially a new edition, so we should take a look at that. 1178 plus 399 shipping. 1578. I would say for me, let's actually just look at what the other prime offers are here. So we do have 3 prime offers brand new for 50. So that's definitely going to be a cap. We're not going to be able to, for example, sellers for $50 in used condition, because most people are not going to say, oh, I'll save 26 cents and buy it in used condition. So we're probably going to have to be like at least $5 lower than that, Victor. My
Well,
guess.
what I'm saw is for the whole year, right? Is that
Uh,
the sellers who have it new don't have an in a supply selling it at 50. So I'm not
mm,
necessarily worried about, like, I do think those 3 will probably sell out sometime
yeah.
soon, and will probably go back up to like that $75 range
Yeah.
here in the near future. So I don't, I do know that, I acknowledge it now, and probably need to wait a few weeks, maybe even a month for that to sell out. But yeah,
Yeah.
somewhere around 50 is probably where I'm trying to sell the book at.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a great point there. So, like, if we get rid of everything and just look at the new price, like, we're also at the lowest price we've kind of been the whole year, right? We've been as high as
Hmm.
130, oftentimes at 70, and you're right, in the 60s. So yeah, target price of 50 would be good there. And now, if you wanted to sell it now and not wait for these to sell out,
Yeah.
then you'd probably have to target
That
like
would be the
45.
cap, would be 50, yeah.
Yeah,
Would be
but I
like
mean, at the same
$45.
time, you're still making a $12 profit, never touching the book. That's still great margin on books right there, or on a book without needing to touch it.
Yeah.
Now, again, let's go and take a look at this potential new edition to see if it is new edition. So we've got the current book we're looking at coming out over a decade ago, so it's about 15 years old. We have this book, which is the third edition. It came out in 2019, so it's 5 years old. Okay, and managing social anxiety. Now
They look
one's a
like the same book.
workbook, and the other one's a therapist guide.
Oh yeah.
This
Okay.
guide. So third edition, second edition. So
Hmm.
I don't know if they are actually treatments that work, workbook, and therapist guide. So I mean, I don't know. I think they're kind of different books. I mean, and even this newer
Okay.
edition, it's been going strong for a long time. So again, what you tend to think is that if a new edition came out and it was really going to affect the old edition, then you would say, well, what happened to the old edition during this time, and what happened to this during that time, Victor? I mean, it's
It
just
stayed consistent. I mean, it's still
it's
been selling. It's
yeah.
still like it. If it was a brand, if it was a book that just came out, right, the new edition just came out, I would be a little bit more worried, or within the
Mhm.
last year or something. But the fact it's been out for 5 years and that
Yeah.
this book is 4,800 days old at least,
Yeah.
I'm not worried.
Now you can certainly see a trend of it selling less frequently over time. Like the sales rank was much lower here, and you can see how it's just starting to climb and climb and climb. But at the same time, it's still selling. It's not like it's just going to stop selling today. It's just going to over time sell less and less and less often. But it's still a book that I would pick up. So we can go ahead and put that one in the chat.
Yeah.
And I think did I already put it 2.5? No, I did not put that one in the chat
Mm.
as well. And again, this is a Q&A, everyone. So, feel
Yeah.
free to
Start.
ask questions
You
if you
guys
have
have
any
any
questions.
questions? Ask us while we're going through these, or did you notice something we didn't notice?
So I'm gonna get rid of that book and we'll put that book there to purchase if you guys don't. All right. Ford pickups and expeditions. All right. A lot of these repair manual books about cars that are older can do quite well. Generally, in my experience, they sell in like the 20 to 40 range, but some of them, depending on the type of car, can sell much higher. So again, we're looking again, just trying to be as super simple and basic and systematic as possible, looking at intrinsic value. Again, what I hope you can realize is that this isn't a $3 book. It's oftentimes in the 20s and 30s,
Yeah.
and sometimes even as high as 60. Now it's sitting at 5. So we're looking at, could we have bought this book for a cheaper price? No, it was 20 there, it was 12 there, it was 20 there, it was $10 there. So no. I mean, this is the
No.
cheapest you could have
Yeah.
bought it this year. That's good. Does it sell? Okay, yeah, the sales rank drops. It definitely sells. That's good. Is Amazon in stock? No, Amazon's not in
No.
stock. Maybe they used to be in stock.
No. Doesn't look like it.
Yeah, it looks like they were in stock for
Oh, okay.
on February from
That could
February
have been an
19th to
error.
February
Yeah.
23rd of what year is that? 2015. So they were in stock
Wow.
for 4 days 8 years ago, 9 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't have to worry about Amazon being in stock. Um, or what have the used buy box prices been at? Um, well, we know the book can sell in the mid 30s because we have proven sales rank drops when the lowest price is at. Like that's a sales rank drop when the lowest used price is $40,
Right.
33. So we know it can sell for at least that. And again, remember the black line is the bottom of the barrel. Like I can't stress that enough. The black line is the inherent value. It's what someone's willing to sell you the book for. But at the same time, it's the bottom of the barrel sort of offer. It could potentially be it's got water damage, it's got, highlighting and writing in it, it's ugly copy. So
Yeah.
oftentimes sales are going to be higher than that. We're just looking at, okay, does it have a base value at least? So for me, I'm targeting, as a prime seller, I'm probably targeting between 35 and 45 bucks for a book like this. Now we still want to go ahead and take a look at what the offers are and the listing are, what the buy cost would be, and such. So we do have a acceptable copy, and this is usually a good sign when there's just one or two copies at a low, and then it jumps back up. Right, as soon as someone buys that copy, this line just is going to go
Gonna go
back up
up.
in the mid
Yeah.
20s. Right. Okay. So the reason why it's low is probably because the corners are bent curled, pages have marks, book in acceptable condition. Okay, pages are yellow. So you have to make the decision whether or not you'd buy it. I mean, it's a repair manual. I mean, you would expect a repair manual to be probably pretty greasy and dirty. So I probably wouldn't be as worried about this particular book as if it were like a coffee table book, for example. And you're looking at 576
Yeah,
plus.
I buy a lot of manuals that are kind of have stains on them and unacceptable acceptable condition, because what they're trying to do is get the information out of the book, not necessarily, wanted to keep it in their house or something.
Yep. So for me, what I would do for a book like this is my target is probably $35. So I'd buy it
Mhm.
for 1026. I'd probably put my min price at like 33.99 and probably put my max price at like 36.99 and just let it sit there. And I would bet within 6 months this book sells.
Yeah.
So
I mean, very similar goals. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, almost identical. So,
yeah, very
yeah.
good. So I don't know if I put that one in the chat. Ends in 8.4. Did I? I don't think so. The spiking offer count. The spiker off concern you. So I think you're talking about this book over here, the managing social anxiety. So it has a little bit of a rise in offer count. I would only be concerned with this if, let's say, there was multiple prime sellers that were really low, which doesn't look to be the case, right? It
Yeah.
looks like there's a couple that are a little bit under what we would target. But if, for example, there was like 10, let's say there's like five or so
Mhm.
prime offers, then okay, I'm like, okay, there's going to be quite a bit of competition there, but it's not to the point where it's worrying me enough yet.
Yeah, I'm not that worried about it. I mean, yeah, we picked it.
All right, now we're gonna look at foundations of calligraphy. I love books like this. I mean, you can just tell that this is an extremely niche book. Came out in 2006, so it's got it's over a decade old. So the data won't lie to us. Do people want the book? Well,
Yeah.
how do we know people want the book, AJ?
Now, Joji, when you first line on a book, do you do this every time? Do you go and unselect everything, or are you just
No,
basically doing it for everyone here?
I'm just doing it as a teaching
Yeah,
method
teaching
because
moment.
I'm
Oh
trying
yeah,
to layer it because I know this is not easy for a lot of people, especially if
yeah.
you're new. So I like for me, whenever I come to a listing, I've got basically um not basically I have this set up. So I've got sales rank new. If there's Amazon, I'll have Amazon, used by box, used price. Um I'll often toggle collectible for some books, but I don't usually keep it as a default.
Hmm.
Then I've got definitely I would definitely recommend at least these two, new and used offer count. I also like to just kind of see what the rating and review count is, although it's not super important. So if you're talking like bare minimum what you need, I
Yeah,
would say that setup. Sales rank, new, buy box use Amazon if it's there, new and used offer count. Would you agree?
yeah. There's also warehouse deals, but it's not on there. I don't
Yeah.
know. Sometimes I'll have that selected.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty much the same setup with that included.
Because that's really all the data that you're going to need
Hmm.
to make it a confident decision about this book. All right.
So
So
just looking at this chart on its face here, what would you
yeah.
think of that book? Just quickly, would you think
Yeah.
that
For me,
okay, we have a really good book here, or
yeah.
would you
Oh,
pass
yeah,
on it?
absolutely. I'm thinking a book that's a little bit cheaper just because the offer count's rising, but I'm looking at a book that probably is a very niche book that has a long track record of performing well, that generally sells probably between 75 and $100, depending on the prime offers, and we can pick it up for probably around 35. So I'm thinking probably buy multiple copies for 35 and list it between 75 and 85. That's what I'm thinking, like within like 2 seconds.
Yeah, no, I would also saying the same thing. I'm highly interested in this book,
Yeah.
even if there's a higher offer count. And somebody asked, do you look at the supply, and if it is oversupply, will you look at the book? And yeah,
Do I look
especially
at
like
some?
books like that. I mean, yes, it did move up a little bit, but not. It was not substantial. It wasn't like, oh,
Yeah.
it's doubled or tripled in the used offer count in last year, and this book isn't going to be valuable anymore. The fact that the book was old, like pretty old, and still selling, those are really
Yeah.
positive signs for a book like that.
The other thing that you have to think about as well is the type of book. When I see a increase in used offer count for a book that is a very niche book that has a long track record of doing well, I'm not really that um, worried at all. I'm actually glad that that's happening because that's allowing the used price to come down. It's allowing the people who are only using live data to make their decisions to price the book lower than they should, and that gives me the opportunity to buy copies. Now, I would be more worried if it were a textbook because textbooks, when they start getting higher offer counts, can tend to tank quite significantly. So,
Hmm.
in this case, I'm actually not worried about that offer count really at all. But what we do is still just go to the Amazon listing and take a look here. So, okay, it's interesting that we actually do have a new seller. They're at $99. So you could think of that being your cap. But again, the target price is probably $75 to $85 anyways. Now we're looking at quite a few copies here at 30, and actually really awesome what we saw here. What's popping out here, Victor, that's just making you super excited?
I'm about to, after this live, I'm about to go jump on this, right? Because we
Yeah.
just saw this right now, right? The Goodwill of Colorado is offering 25% off all their books. So yeah, that is huge. Someone should buy that book now,
Yeah,
right?
you
That
should buy
$32
that book right
book.
now. That's
Yeah.
an amazing deal. So what that looks like here is it's not gonna be, 25% off the total price. It's just
Yeah.
gonna be 25% off the base price, not
So
including shipping.
what's the smart thing to do, Joji?
Oh,
I mean,
smart. So the smart thing to
yeah,
do is to see if that person is also
yeah,
cross-listed on eBay
yeah,
because the price on eBay will be free shipping. So we're gonna actually sort by lowest first, and we're gonna search for the seller. Colorado Springs, I think is who they were,
yeah. Pretty sure
and
there were.
the book's out of stock. So someone just bought it. So there you go.
Yeah.
Someone's on it out there, which
Someone's
is
on it.
good. Yeah. But the reason why this is so good is because if you could buy it for, let's see, what was it? 34.77
Yeah,
times 0.75 or 75% of that price is 26, right?
yeah,
So now all of a sudden you've just increased your margin because again the target price is 75. You're looking at
yeah.
$27 profit, but potentially could even go up to 85. So really, really great book. Now, don't worry if you weren't able to pick it up for that. It kind of sucks because someone else bought it, but I would still consider picking up a copy here
Yeah.
at 30.96 plus 3.96. You're looking at $34. And again, I'm still thinking this is the book that you're targeting at 75. So now you're looking at about a 50% margin up to 85, which would be a little bit higher, getting up to 76. Again, this is a book you never have to touch, right? You just send to a prep center. Now, if you are someone who's just really worried about offer counts, then great, just buy a copy, just see how it does. You don't. There's no reason why you have to buy four of them. If you don't feel super confident about it, and then just buy one copy and just see how it does. But it's certainly a book that I would buy.
Buy the one copy, sell the one copy, then feel like, okay, I'm starting to understand this. I'm understanding that I can depend on these charts, these like and start getting this whole process down. So yeah, I would
Yep.
definitely buy that book and check it out from there.
Yeah, Sarah says someone is very quick and grab
Yeah.
these because they know that we're legitimate. Like we know that these are books that we would buy, right? I mean, we're just trying to say like, hey, we're trying to help out the community and help with everyone's confidence level because the number one thing that I get when people talk to me is like, I'm just overanalyzing. Like, I don't know if I should be buying, and we're just trying to walk you through our process. Um,
And
now,
then they end up stopping, right? They end up
yeah,
like not buying anything because they're so worried about making a mistake. And you're going to make mistakes. We make mistakes, Joji, right? I mean, I
yeah,
make mistakes like every day I'm probably buying one of the 20 books I'm buying is probably not going to do as well as I thought it was going to do.
yep.
So,
But it's fine, right?
yeah.
Because I mean, from what I've seen, like as long as I sell like 60% of what I purchased for what I think I'm gonna buy it for, I'm like wildly profitable. And actually, the number one thing, and you guys will learn this as well as you become better booksellers, is the way that you become very profitable is getting rid of the stuff that didn't do well. And that means breaking even losing
Yeah.
some money, right? Because that's where what you don't want to have is a bunch of inventory just sitting there that's never going to sell because the target price that you thought it was going to sell out has now come down. You just got to get rid of it and move on. Just realize that the majority of the books that you buy are going to hit that great ROI that you're anticipating. Some of them won't, but the amazing ROI from the other books does more than carries those other books. So
You just have to accept that you're going to lose on a few of them. It's just part of business. It happens
yeah.
to everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's see. Sarah did say that she snagged one.
Yeah.
Nathan says that he's in his car, so he's missing everything.
Actually,
And
yeah, I know he's not able to buy the books that we're talking about. And actually, Nathan posted,
yeah,
yeah, right there. There, here,
yeah.
this one. Do you see that
Can you
already?
su- yeah, can you suggest any book selling Oh man, there's only one that I can think of, and it's gonna be awesome. So guys, thank you, Nathan, for
Yeah,
reminding
thank
us.
you.
Reminding us.
Thanks, Nathan.
Books and Beyond. Come on,
Mhm.
guys. We want to see you there. So look, we've got an amazing speaker lineup. If you didn't know, September 13th through 15th in Las Vegas, Nevada, we're going to bring together 20 speakers, over 20 speakers. They're each going to speak for at least 20 minutes. And there's going to be, if you go with the after party ticket selection, and then, there's an after party where you're going to be able to meet with everyone here, like, in a very intimate setting. But we've got the best men and women in the business. We got Roman the Roamer, Mel back from Burnout. There's me and Victor and Steve. We've got Amanda who's killing Whatnot. We've
Yeah,
got
and we
the
just added her to the list, right?
yeah,
Last couple days.
yep.
So,
We've
yep.
got Reezy, Caleb, the goats of book selling. We've got
Yeah.
Shanna Mann, the owner of Central Virginia Prep. So we have prep set owners that are going to be there. We've got Bob Books crushing Whatnot. She's
And
doing
we just
really
added
great.
her, and she's
Added
doing
her.
Whatnot. Yeah.
FBA Dave just interviewed him yesterday. He's a bulk bookseller doing 7 figures a year. We got Chris Green, who's been around book selling for like the beginning of Amazon, like in the 90s. We got Diane Mashburn. Ask her any question, she'll answer it related to Amazon book selling. Frank, owners of Little Owl, that's the one Victor uses.
Yep.
We
Yeah.
got Bill Marling, the owner of Sell Back Your Book. So, um,
So I
also,
imagine all of us have sold some books to sell back your book, including
oh,
me, and so it's
yep,
pretty cool to actually get to meet him.
yep. We got Amanda there. So Amanda is starting to get a little bit into book flipping, but doing E2A, also doing some like Walmart flipping. So she's going to be there. We got Seth, does eBay Amazon. And we got Vishal, a 7-figure per month bookseller. So he's selling over 1 million in used books per month.
Yeah, I know. He's massive. He
Animal
has a
Squirrel.
huge warehouse of books.
Yeah.
Just to see some
Animals.
pictures of what he was doing, I'm like, wow, that's a
Yeah.
operation. Yeah.
We got Jameson Philippi, John Muscarella, Aaron Worley. So all, more people, 6 and 7-figure sellers. And the idea is like, is it worth it? Well, the way that I think about it is like that saying of like you are kind of the average of like what the 5 people you hang around. It's like if you hang around people who are 6 and 7-figure booksellers, the
Right.
odds of you becoming a 6 and 7-figure bookseller is significantly higher because you're gonna start imitating the way that those people talk. You're gonna start imitating the way that those people think about business. You're gonna start imitating the way that those people find business. Look at this guy over here. Look at him. Look at all these books. So Books and Beyond Resellers
Yeah.
Conference, September 13th through 15th, Four Queens Hotel. You guys can grab your tickets. It's coming out in 42 days. So, you know,
It's
really
coming by
awesome.
quick. I know we're over here starting to stress about it. Like, okay, we got to get
Yeah.
everything correct and ready to go. Yeah.
Yep. You can right now you can get in for 347 for just general admission. It's basically a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event, and then if you want the after party, you can go with the 547 option. And these prices are just going to go up as we get closer. Right now, we have about 100 people, so it's going to be so. I mean, people are coming, so it's your decision if you're joining. What do they call it? You're joining the train or not, right? You're
Right.
hopping aboard the train or not, but yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. So we
Because
hope to
this will
see
be
you
our
there.
first conference, right? Our first book
Yeah,
conference, and so we're really excited about it. And you will have pictures, and you'll be able to come back to like, okay, let's look at our first year. Who was there?
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
mhm.
And this is something that I mean, Victor and I always long term. Like, I mean, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I mean, this 10th annual,
Yep.
5th annual, it's gonna be awesome. So we hope to see you there. And even if you can't make it this year, then plan on at least trying to make it next year. How can we prepare to get the most out of the conference? I would recommend, Nathan, that you look at the speaker lineup and figure out of the speakers up here, who do you
Yeah.
think is somebody you really want to get a one-on-one with or be able to snag some time to talk with? Um,
Because
and if
you'll have
that's
that
me,
opportunity, but if you don't have like some goals in mind, you're gonna miss out on actually talking with them. So
yeah. So you're like, all right, I've got to talk to Joji. I've got to talk to
yeah,
Joji. I've got
yeah,
to talk to Victor. I've got to talk to Steve. I got to talk to Reese. Then I would say prepare yourself for all right. That's a must. I'm not leaving Vegas until that happens. That's one. And then similar, like, okay, I'm looking at what the talks are gonna be about. I really want to hear what Mel has to say. Then make sure you're there at 8:30 to 8:50 a.m. on Saturday morning, right? So um that's what I'd say. And then also I'd highly recommend the after party because during the actual conference when people are speaking, you're gonna be listening, and that's awesome. But
mhm.
also the networking comes from like a informal setting where you're just like talking about stuff, right? There'll be some drinks flowing as well. So, you know, it's a time when if you're going to get information out, this is when you're gonna get information out. Don
Yeah,
says
agree with
looking
you.
forward to meeting
Yep.
many there. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to hopefully meeting as many of you there as possible. Um,
Oh yeah,
Sarah
so
says,
Chet asked who else is coming, and I'm thinking he's thinking, also he's coming,
yes,
right? So
exactly.
he's Chet's coming, and we'll also probably we're gonna put him on a panel with us, right, to talk
Yeah.
about online arbitrage
Yeah, absolutely.
with books. So
Yep. So
yeah,
Chet's going to be there, and we're also going to have Nathan's going to be there. He's asking how can we repair. Nathan's going to be there, and Don says
yeah,
he's looking forward to meeting there. He says, are there going to be any sessions at the conference doing deep dive on Keepa? So Victor's. So you can correct me. Well, Victor, why don't you talk? You can briefly talk about kind of what you're thinking of talking about there.
yeah. So I mean, first I'm gonna remember that it's you guys know us, right? But not
Yeah.
everyone there will know us because the speakers will bring in their own audiences. So first, going to talk a
Right.
little bit about my journey of book selling and stuff like that, and then talk about why I've chosen seasonal books and why I really honed into that field, and then kind of go into some Keepa charts that way. You have to remember that not everyone's going to be really that interested in Keepa and stuff. So I'm going to talk about that, but I'm going to try to more talk about like, this is why I believe seasonal sourcing is the best way out there, and then maybe give a few tips here and there. What you'll really will get some more value in is when we actually do the panels, right? Because now we're broken up. Now we're actually talking about online arbitrage with books, and in that specific venue, I'll be able to kind of go into that more. Both me and Joji and Chet will be able to talk about that more, and I think that's where you really get a lot of value in what we do in those panels. And so think of those as more like a learning opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go. Avery's always always calling us savages here. This means that we're killing it. We're doing a good job. So welcome. Yeah, I mean, we found a lot of great books here, Victor. Hopefully,
Yeah.
and that's the goal as well. As like we do these lives, like, hey, go buy these books. These books can help fund your ticket, right? If you're gonna come, try out a BookMine if you want. You can try out a free trial, and if anything else, someone put it well when we were talking to someone about it just being a good learning tool. Actually, I think that was somebody who Avery just recently interviewed, right? He's like, yeah, BookMine's a great teaching tool. You can see all the keepa graphs and all that stuff. So just try out a free trial, and you can just use that as a learning experience, even if you don't come on board. But we're just trying to make buying
Yeah.
books as easy as possible. That's the goal. So
Right. It helps you buy books much quicker. If like you don't have, if your time's limited, BookMine really helps you out there. And since Romer's here, he really helped us out in the last few times. So I really appreciate that from him. And also for anyone who is still actually buying books and getting them sent to your house, or if you're just thrifting books, GoToLister is definitely an awesome software for you guys to
yeah,
use to send in your books into Amazon. So anytime I have the opportunity, I try to push that out there.
absolutely. And I also have a couple of videos on my YouTube channel about how to use GoToLister.
Yeah.
Because I, from time to time, will send out a shipment of my own as well. So you guys could always go to my YouTube channel and check out GoToLister tutorial. And I can show you how you guys can send a box of books using. And there we go. We got Jeremy saying, "Yeah, GoToLister rocks." Absolutely. Yeah, GoToLister is great, man. Don's got the
Heck yeah.
stereotype Avery, biceps thing. So that's good. All right. I mean, any other questions here? I mean, we're probably gonna end it in a few minutes. We just wanted to show our faces, show you
hmm
some awesome books. But any other questions y'all have, please follow Bob's advice. Thumbs up the video, guys and gals. Um, Hope to
Thank
see
you
you
guys
at the
for
Books
that.
and Beyond Resellers Conference. I mean, it's really right around the corner. It's coming up quick. So you gotta get your ticket quick. Prices are going up pretty soon. They're never gonna be cheaper than they are today. And we hope to see you there. Hope to see you in person. I hope to selfishly be able to meet you all and talk to you in person. Although just know everyone that you probably know me much better than I know you because of the fact that you know you're watching me across the screen and
Oh yeah,
you know
no, that kind of tripped me out when I first met Steve, right? I expected him to know me as much as I knew him because I saw him on screen all the time, and then realizing, oh, well, he actually doesn't know me much because he
yeah,
actually has never met me in person. So that is true. I
yeah,
can't wait to meet everyone who's coming. Too bad Sarah's not going to be able to make it.
yeah.
But next year we'll be able to then we're going to have this event again. So
Yeah, we're really hoping to bring Sarah next time. That'd be great. And yeah, like I said, we're thinking long term with this, right? Also, this isn't a money grab, so just know that it's not. We're trying to make a bunch of money off of this conference, off you guys with this conference. In reality, most conferences lose money, and so our goal is to just try to get to break even or lose the least amount of money as possible. So know that
yeah,
that it's not like a money grab. It's like actually to help build a community. It's also to help BookMine solidify
yeah.
ourselves as the premier book sourcing software because BookMine will be sponsoring part of the conference. So just know that we're doing it to help out the community, and even if again we lose money, we're trying to help build a community. So yeah,
We structured the conference in that way, right? We were like, what location can people fly to,
yeah,
pretty cheaply, and actually have hotel stays pretty cheaply too. So,
yeah,
and that's why we picked Las Vegas, and that's why we picked downtown Las Vegas because it happens just to be some really good hotels over there.
Yeah. Do the event in
Mhm.
like February, not high season for people who do MF like myself. MF, is that merchant fulfilled? I don't know. Is that
Yeah.
what that means? Yeah,
Hmm.
merchant fulfilled season. Yep. All
See, I
right,
didn't even
everybody.
think September was. I thought August was, right? We're over here
Yeah.
selling a ton of books in August, not really that much in September. So
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds good.
yeah,
But yeah. Hope you guys really enjoyed the video, and we'll see you. We'll do some other lives in the future as well. But hope you
that was a
guys
lot of
enjoy.
fun. Good.
Yep. All right. Sounds good. Later, guys.
All right,
Peace out.
talk to you later. Bye.